Zhang Zhub Ning Porji Gi Bar Zange Nam La Kapsu Chi Do Dang Zhang Zhub Zampa Yi Zo Len De Shin Kapsu Chi Je Torn Nong Gi De Shagi Zhang Zhub Duk Ni Gi Ba Dang Zhang Zhub Zampe La Ba La De Dagrim Zin Ne Pa Dor De Shindro La Ban Dan Du Zhang Zhub Zam Ni Gi Gi Zing De Shin Du Ni La Ba La Rinpa Shin Du La Bar Ji O Sangye cho dang so ki so nam la cheng shu ba du dag ni gab su ji dag gi jin so ki pe so nam gi cho la ban chu sangye ju pa shok sangye cho dang so ki so nam la cheng shu ba du dag ni gab su ji dag gi jin so ki pe so nam gi cho la ban chu sangye ju pa shok sangye cho dang so ki so nam la cheng shu ba du dag ni gab su ji dag gi jin so ki pe so nam gi cho la ban chu sangye ju pa shok Manam ga dam yam pe sam chen dam se de wa dang de wei gro dang dam bo jur jig do now dang do now gi gu dang draw war jur jig do now me pe de wa dang me draw war jur jig ne ring jack dang ni dang draw wei dang nam la ne bo jur jig manam ga dam yam pe sam chen dam se de wa dang de wei gro dang dam bo jur jig do now dang do now gi gu dang draw war jur jig do now me pe de wa dang me draw war jur jig ne ring jack dang ni dang draw wei dang nam la ne bo jur jig manam ga dam yam pe sam chen dam se de wa dang de wei gro dang dam bo jur jig Dug now dang do now gi gu dang draw war jur jig do now me pe de wa dang me draw war jur jig ne ring jack dang ni dang draw wei dang nam la ne bo jur jig Jake Zhao Wa Dang Jake Xing So Ba Dang Zhe Su Yi Ran Gou Xing So Wai Yi Ge Wa Zheng Zhe Da Gi Ji Zhag Ba Dam Zhe So Bei Zheng Zhu Chu No. Four ways of turning the mind. Oh, this kind of leisure and endowment is supremely difficult to obtain. When we obtain this body, which is easily lost, do not waste it meaninglessly, but rather use it to attain the ultimate liberation, joyous result. Contemplate for a few moments. Precious human life. Okay, number two. The nature of all phenomena is impermanence. Death is a certainty to all who are born. Death can descend any time like a drop of morning dew on a blade of grass. Quick, it is time to make effort for the essence of Dharma. Contemplate impermanence. Next, number 3. The fruit of one's positive karma is happiness. Suffering is the fruit of negative karma. The inexorable karmic causation is the mode of abiding of all dharmas. Henceforth, practice the dharma by distinguishing between what should be practiced and what should be given up. Contemplate karma, cause, and result. Now is number 4. In the 3 lower realms and even in the 3 higher ones, there is not an instant of absolute happiness. I will avoid the root cause of my samsaric existence and practice the excellent path of peace to enlightenment. Contemplate the suffering of samsara. Okay. Page 16. Oma, I, o, ribi, lili, o, ang, gaga, na, za, na, da, na, da, na, ba, ma, yawala, wa, sa, ka, saha, kriya, soha. Oma, I, o, ribi, lili, o, ang, gaga, na, za, na, da, na, da, na, ba, ma, Yawalawa sa ka sa ha kriya so ha i rivi lili ang ga na za na da na da na ba ma yawalawa sa ha krisa so ha. Omi dome hetu pabawa hetu takan tatagato heo watata takasa yunarada able mari mashimani e soha. Omi dome hetu pabawa hetu takan tatagato heo watata takasa yunarada able mari mashimani e soha. Omi dome hetu pabawa hetu takan tatagato heo watata takasa yunarada able mari mashimani e soha. All phenomena arise from causes. Those causes have been taught by the Tathagata. Their cessation, too, has been proclaimed by the great ascetic, the Shramaniye Soha. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manu Balaya Vajrasattva Denoba Jusadrido Mebawa Sudogayo Mebawa Subogayo Mebawa Nurektu Mebawa Sara Zidi Me Prayata Zara Karma Suzume Susanjuya Guru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarata Dagata Bajra Bami Mansi Bajra Bhava Ma Samaya Satwaha Om Bajra Samaya Manu Balaya Bajra Denoba Jusadrido Mebawa Sudogayo Mebawa Supogayo Mebawa Anurektu Mebawa Sara Zidi Me Prayata Sara Karma Suzume Susanjuya Guru Hong Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sarata Dagata Bajra Bami Mansi Bajra Bhava Ma Samaya Satwaha Om Bajra Samaya Manu Balaya Bajra Denoba Jusadrido Mebawa Sudogayo Mebawa Supogayo Mebawa, Nurektu Mebawa, Zara Zidi, Meprayata, Zara Karma Sotsu Me, Sidzandriya Guru Hung, Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan. Sara Tata Gata, Bajra Bami Maji, Bajra Baba Ma, Samaya, Satwaha, Om Bajra Samaya, Manu Balaya, Bajra Denoba, Judadedo Mebawa, Sudogayo Mebawa, Supogayo Mebawa, Nurektu Mebawa, Zara Zidi, Meprayata, Zara Karma Zutsu Me, Sidzandriya Guru Hung, Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan. Sara Dada Gata, Bajra Bami Matsi, Bajra Baba Ma, Samaya, Satwaha. Om Vajrasattva Samaya, help to protect my vow to purify myself. May you remain firm with me. Grant me the complete satisfaction. Grow with me. Be loving towards me. Grant me the attainments to master the powers beyond body and nature. Show me all the deeds of body, speech, and mind. Make my mind heart good, virtuous, and auspicious. Revel in the bliss of the four joys, O Blessed One, who embodies the essence within me. Do not abandon me. Grant me the realization of the indestructible nature. Make me one with you. Thus I signify my unity with non duality. Ah. Om Sambar Sambar Bimanasar Mazaba Hung Om Sambar Zabar 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 Bimanasar Mazaba Hung Om Zambar Zambar Bimanasar Mazamba Hung Om Zambar Zabar Bimanasar Mazamba Hung. Arising from a defiled mind, be reborn in the great wisdom. Om Smar Smar Bimanaskar Mazamba Hung Pam Smar Smar Bimanaskar Mazamba Hung Pam Smar Smar Bimanaskar Mazamba Hung Pam Smar Smar Bimanaskar Mazamba Hung Pay Om Smar Smar Bimanaskar Mazamba Hung Pay Om Smar Smar Bimanaskar Mazamba Hung Pam Smar Smar Bimanaskar Mazamba Hung Pay. Arising from defiled lives, remember and purify the flower of wisdom. Om Zambar Zambar Mahazambu Hung Pe Om Zambar Zambar Mahazambu Hung Bam Zambar Zambar Mahazambu Hung Bam Zambar Zambar Mahazambu Hung Bam Zambar Zambar Mahazambu Hung Bay Om Zambar Zambar Mahazambu Hung Bam Zambar Zambar Mahazambu Hung Bay. Arising great holy wisdom, purify this life. Om Richiramana Pravataya Hong Pe 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 Om Richiramana Pravataya Hong Pe. The enlightened body, speech, and mind are the precious Dharma protectors whose mirror-like wisdom is the door to purification. Om Re Pamanardishwari Hong, 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 Om Re Pamanardishwari Hong. The body, speech, and mind of pure love is ultimate wisdom. Ultimate wisdom is pure love. Om Ah Hong 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 Om Ah Om 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 Oma 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 The benefits of taking refuge. If the merit of taking refuge in the Triple Gem could manifest in form, the whole universe could not contain it. Even though attempting to describe the infinite benefits of practicing refuge is like attempting to empty the ocean with a teaspoon. There are 8 benefits as explained in the Jewel Ornamental Liberation. One becomes a Buddhist. It becomes the basis of all the precepts and vows. It exhausts all previous non-virtuous deeds. It protects one from obstacles created by humans and non-human. One accomplishes all one wishes. One gathers a great amount of merit. One will not fall into the lower realms. One attains Buddhahood swiftly. Refuge practice is the essence of all other practices. Therefore, one should always emphasize this practice. It has inconceivable beneficial effects. Through this practice, one can achieve the fearless state. With one pointed mind, take refuge in the 3 jewels. Meditate the surroundings as inseparable from a Buddha field. In the space in front of me is a lion throne in which are a lotus, sun, and moon disk seat, in the center of which sits the kind root lama in the form of Vajrasattva with the 7 characteristics. Blue in color, 2 arms, holding a Vajra and a bell crossed at the heart, and gracefully sitting in the Vajra position. Adorned by the silken robes and various precious jewel ornaments and surrounded by all the lineage lamas. In front of the lion throne is the Yidam Chakra Samvara, the male and female aspects in union, whose manifestation is simultaneously appearance and emptiness. At the right side of the throne is the assembly of the Buddhas of the 3 times, possessing all the auspicious signs of a Buddha, together with the 1,000 Buddhas of this fortunate kalpa. Behind the throne is the Prajnaparamita, proclaiming the relative and ultimate meaning of the 3 yanas. To the left of the throne is the assembly of the compassionate bodhisattvas, surrounded by the Sangha of the 3 yanas. Around the base of the throne are the Dharmapalas, an ocean of guardians gathered like clouds. Back to Tibet, page 25. Nei kang wo men xing dan yu mei pei, rang dun sam chen pei ma ni de ten. U su jin sen sa wei la ma ni, yen lag jung jen dur je chang gi so. No sang chang ni dur jil to kar no. Shabni dorje kil chung yin sul shog. Dar dang rin chen na so gen gize. Gu pe she den am dag tab dag shik shog. Don du yidam korlo de we chog. Yab yom nam sog song jog nam shol so. Yesu du som sangye san per den, kao sang sangye tong dang lan shik chod. Gab tu se rav paro chin pe yum, dragne tek som choki na ro do. Yong du san den chang shub san pe so. Tek som ge dun nam gi yong su kor. Tri sam su dam Pa Cho Kyung Wei, Song Ma Gyatso Trindrik Tabergyor. Buddhas, Dharmas, Sanghas, Yidams, Dharma protectors, to these supreme objects of refuge for protection from the hordes of suffering of samsara, we all migrators go for refuge until enlightenment is attained. Buddhas, Dharmas, Sanghas, Yidams, and Dharma protectors, to these supreme objects of refuge for protection from the hordes of sufferings of samsara, we all migrators go for refuge until enlightenment is attained. Sangye Chosog Yidam Chokyung Che Kapsog Namla Dagsog Jawakun Si Pe Jiksog Nam Lekyob Chi Changshu Mato Badu Kapsu Chi. I rejoice when all sentient beings are happy and free from the samsaric suffering and swiftly attain ultimate Buddhahood. For this purpose, from now on until I achieve enlightenment, I will follow the path to the ultimate goal. I rejoice when all sentient beings are happy and free from the samsaric suffering and swiftly attain ultimate Buddhahood. For this purpose, from now on until I achieve enlightenment, I will follow the path to the ultimate goal. Drokunde den dognel drawadan, nor du la me topar dagawe. De chidang ne jangshu ma tobar, ne pe don chog lam la juk parja. Now I'm going to do prostrations. I'll recite 3 times. I'll do 6 prostrations. I'll do the recitation 3 times. Twinsen Sawadan Gurpa, Jepe Paldan Lama, Nambanam like Kapsu Chio, Yidam Kuku Nila Sokam like Kapsu Chio, Sange Chondende Nam like Kapsu Chio, Dampeto Nam like Kapsu Chio, Pepeke do Nam like Kapsu Chio, Pawoka Gurdu Formation Yashegi, Jenden Nam like Kapsu Chio. Twinsen Sawadan Gurpa, Jepe Paldan Lama, Dampan Nam like Kapsu Chio, Yidam Kuku Nila Sokam like Kapsu Chio. Sange Jondende Nam like Kapsu Chio, Dampeto Nam like Kapsu Chio, Pepeke do Nam like Kapsu Chio, Pawoka Georgia Formation Yashegi, Jenden Nam like Kapsu Chio. Twinsen Sawadan Gurpa, Jepe Paldan Lama, Dampan Nam like Kapsu Chio. Yidam Kyogor Yila So Nam like Kapsu Chio. Sange Jondende Nam like Kapsu Chio. Dampeto Nam like Kapsu Chio, Pepeke do Nam like Kapsu Chio. Pawoka Georgia Formation Yashegi, Jenden Nam like Kapsu Chio. Okay. We recite the refuge prayer as many times as possible. We meditate that the refuge visualization dissolves into oneself and oneself dissolves into emptiness. Rest in the natural state. Okay. So now we go to the Vajrasattva practice. So we review page 1 and page 2, the introduction. So generally speaking, virtuous and non-virtuous acts depend on mind. The mind is the master, and the body and speech are the servants. Because of the degree of the power of afflictive emotions, controlled by the desire, hatred, and so forth, we create non-virtuous acts, such as the 5 heinous karmas, the 5 close karmas, the 10 non-virtues, the breaking of vows, and samayas. It is non-virtue if we do these things ourselves. We ask others to do them for us, or we rejoice when these deeds are done by others. Not only that, when the mind is under the control of desire, hatred, and so forth, even if we hear, study, and practice the precious Dharma, we create non-virtue. These non-virtues created by evil deeds will bring suffering and undesirable conditions. These non-virtues are created through conquering our enemies, protecting our relatives and friends, and protecting our own body and accumulating wealth. But we leave these things behind when we face death. However, non-virtue will follow us like a shadow, life after life, and become a source of all sufferings. Therefore, it is very wise to purify all non-virtues we create before they become the result. This purification, if we use the 4 powers, can be very effective. The 4 powers are remorse, antidote, resolve, and reliance. In the Vajrayana path, Vajrasattva meditation is a special practice for the purification of non-virtuous causes. So with confidence and without hesitation, enter into the Vajrasattva practice. Have sincere remorse for evil deeds. Confess them and resolve not to create more negative karma, even at the risk of one's life. Then take refuge. Cultivate the mind of enlightenment. Recite the mantra and meditate on emptiness as the antidote and reliance. So last week, I couldn't remember the 5 close karmas, and they were in this book the whole time. They were in my another text that I had where I had notes and everything. But this book here is the guidebook from Kenshin Rinpoche for the Nundro practice. And I found this week that Vajra Publications has begun to publish these again, has these printed again. They had sold out. And then Vajra Publications kind of fell on poor management. But now another person has taken it over, and they revived it back to its glory days, so to speak. And they've got so many texts. I sent you all a link to the website and links to this book and the book, The Pearl Rosary. So if you plan on doing this practice, this is very important. Another reason why this is important is because in these books, many of them have a glossary of enumerations. These appendices and these glossaries are incredibly valuable in terms of learning, what things mean and so on. So in the glossary of enumerations, it's on page 299 is where it starts, Michael. So it starts off with 2. So here's 2 accumulations, 2 of these, 2 of that. Then it goes to 3. Here's 3 of these, 3 of those, 3 of that, and so on. Then it goes to 4, 4 of these, 4 of that, and so on, all the way up to, as many as they can enumerate for us. So depending on the book, depending on the study that the book pertains to, will be the degree of sophistication of what these glossaries will be like. So if you're looking at a higher level book, you're going to have a glossary that's going to have many of these things, but it's going to have a lot of higher things too. So as I say, if you're planning on continuing practice and developing your Dharma studies and so on, having these books for these reasons are terrific. So going to the section where it says 5, we see that there are, here are the 5 close or nearly heinous karmas. So, well, before we do that, we'll do the 4 heinous karmas, just to review. So it says here the heinous acts or the karmas are killing one's father, killing one's mother, killing an arhat, dividing the sangha, creating a schism in the sangha, and injuring a Buddha, which can also mean temples and things like that. But then when we go into the 5 close or nearly heinous karmas, now it says, number 1 is sexually violating a male or female arhat. And 2 is knowingly killing a bodhisattva certain to attain enlightenment. And then 3 is killing a member of the sangha who has entered the path or training, or entered the path of training. 4 is misappropriation of the sangha's property. And the 5th one is destroying a stupa. So these are 5 close karmas.
What page was that on, Lance?
That was on, well, in my book, there are different editions, I must say.
Okay.
In my book, it's 304. That was on page 304. So, but it's in the back of the book. Now, in that white book that you have, that was the very first edition. So I don't even know if it has the enumerations in there, to be honest.
No, it's got just the non-virtues.
Oh, is that right?
Just the 10 non-virtues: killing, stealing, sexual misconduct.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. That was a very first draft copy, that white book.
Mhm.
And then these blue books became, the new edition. And then there's several editions of these.
Yeah, I ordered that and the Pearl Rosary. They should be coming next week.
Oh, great. You already ordered them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, terrific. Okay. All right. So you'll find many, many great things in there. And Kenshin is really good at, describing these things. These are teachings that he gave that were transcribed into books. So he does a marvelous job of this. Okay, so does anybody have any other questions about the introduction to the Vajrasattva practice? Okay. All right, good. So what are the 4 powers? Gary? Your microphone's off. Good excuse. You going to turn it on or what?
Yes, I am. I was going over them this afternoon and now I can't remember them.
That's okay. That's okay. No, but the power of remorse,
Yes.
the power of or regret, the power of remedy or antidote, the power of I gotta look myself now.
Resolve.
Of
Not easy, Lance.
resolve not to do it,
Reliance.
and reliance, you know, in the practice to keep from doing it, and to get ourselves back on track if we do it. Yeah. So, you know, this is purification of the body, you know, things that we do with the body, things that we do with our intellect, with our speech, and things that we do with our mind, you know, things, confusions that we do with our mind and so on, as are enumerated in the 10 non-virtues. So we should be familiar with the 10 non-virtues as well. So in this book, are the 10 non-virtues listed in here? Let's see. Yeah, they certainly are. Yeah, 10 virtues are here. The 10 bhumis are here. The 10 endowments. So 10 virtues are here. So it's got many, many things here. It's got the marks of a Buddha. It's got the 37 branches of enlightenment that we had been talking about in weeks past. So many things are in here.
Well, the boomies are in, I can't remember how much, but the boomies are in the Jewel of Ornamental Liberation too. But
Well, that's correct.
I don't know how well those two books align, but the Jewel of
Perfectly.
But do I need both books? I already have the Jewel of Ornamental Liberation. Does the
Well, I it's a question for you whether or not you plan on doing the Nundro practices, and you know, to further your study and so on, because there is stuff in here that is the elaboration of the Jewel Ornamental Liberation, is the practice of the Jewel Ornamental Liberation. The Jewel Ornamental Liberation is like the academics, and then this book and the Pearl Rosary are the two actualizations of the practice, putting the academics to work. So the Pearl Rosary is this is the teachings, or actually the empowerments of the practices. It's the explanations of the practices. It doesn't include the empowerment part of it, but it does include the explanation part of it. When we receive an empowerment, there's three parts to it. We receive the empowerment itself, which is taking refuge and so on. Then we get the transmission of the text, and then we also get the instructions. So this book, Pearl Rosary, are the instructions on how to do the practice. Pardon me. So important books. I was thrilled that they have them, and they got lots of other texts. Some of them we do have, but they got a lot of Pecha texts, and they got some other commentaries and so on. Did you look at the rest of the website, Tom?
Yes, I sure did. They've got a lot of stuff. They got all these. They got the Transformation of Suffering. I have that book, and that's a wonderful book.
Yes,
that's a wonderful book, and they have all these Pechas and as well, you know. And I mean, I was surprised how many different things they had in that. You know, it's a very simple website, but there's a lot of stuff there, and there was also free downloads that you can do.
Yes, many good. Yes, many good free downloads.
Yes. Practices, short practices,
explanations of things.
Sure.
History of I think Jigdan Sumgun, and yeah, there were some good history things there. So Kenshin Rinpoche, I probably have said this before, but it bears repeating, is he was the first of the Drikung Kagyu teachers at the time. He was a Kempo at the time when he came to America in 1981. And he founded the Tibetan Meditation Center, which was the first of all the Kagyu, Drikung Kagyu centers in the Western Hemisphere. And then from that center, all these other centers came out. That was the first one. So many people will come from all around the country, from South America to come, for his teachings and so on, because he was the only one. And then a few years later, then Garchen came and other teachers came and so on, and people started developing their own Dharma centers in their own, cities where they lived and so on. And then he spent more time going around to the different centers rather than having everybody come to TMC. And his first project, when he came to Washington first. He got a place, I think it was on Connecticut Avenue was the first place, I think. And then there was a second place in Washington, but I never went to those. I didn't go until they were in Frederick. But his first project was to start translating the Tibetan texts, the sadhana text. And so he grabbed a few people who were working for Voice of America and who were, scholars in their own right and so on. And he kind of got them to help him to do these translations, because at that time his English wasn't so great, so he was learning English, and these guys are teaching him English, conversational English, as he was translating, and then they were doing the editing and doing the layouts in the computer so these things could be printed and so on. The first ones were handwritten, so some of those old ones are handwritten. So we owe him such a debt of gratitude for what he did, because nobody else has come close to doing what he did. And everybody, and so at the Garchen Institute, they used the text that he translated, and of course at Art Center and TMC and all these other centers used the text that he's translated. There's been some newer translations, but his are very concise, very clean, and very powerful. So rest assured that you're dealing with the real thing. So he was a Kempo during all that time. And then, so he came in 1982. He went out to Frederick. They got the place in Frederick in 1992, I think. And I met him in 2000. And that's when he became a Kenshin. Not because I met him, but he just happened to be he was named as a Kenshin. And the Kenshin is the great abbot of the lineage. There's only one Kenshin in the lineage, and he has responsibility for all the Dharma centers, not just one Dharma center, but all the Dharma centers Kenshin. He's welcomed everywhere. So it's a great honor for him to have been given that title, and he has served it very well, I'm sure.
And Lance, also on that website, also gives him a schedule of Kenshin's teachings.
Yeah, but it was incomplete. It only went up through
It went to
February.
February, yeah, but it gave a Zoom,
Yes.
I guess. So possibly, if you can figure out, when he's giving the teaching, maybe that Zoom number can still be used.
Well, you probably get online with him. I mean, his things are on YouTube. They've been putting it on YouTube, and he's teaching, it seems, a couple times a week, maybe at least once a week. And
Doesn't Pete participate?
I think he does. Yes, Pete's a longtime student of Kenshin. So when Kenshin came, when I came and met Kenshin, like I said, he was just named the Kenshin. So he was leaving TMC, and he was leaving it to Kempo Soltram Tenzin, who's still there, and to Drupal Tinley Ningpo. So Drupal became my teacher, and then we all did our things and so on. And Kenshin traveled around the world. Okay. So we got through the introduction last time, and so now no one has any questions. So if you were going to do this practice all by itself, if you only had a limited amount of time, and you just wanted to do this practice and not do everything that we did earlier, You could, but you should set your motivation by doing all the prayers that we've done thus far tonight and do it. But if you only have a little bit of time, then this text is a complete text. It's got the basic prayers in here. It's got the refuge, short refuge prayer, and it has the 4 immeasurables in here. So we don't need to read that right now because we've already done that. So now we go to page 5. So this is the first time we're doing this, in this series. So it says, above the crown of my head, I visualize a white lotus with a moon disk seat. On this is the syllable hung, which transforms into a vajra, or a dorje, with a hung in its center. From this hung, light radiates, purifying the obscurations of all beings. This light is offered to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. The light returns and dissolves into the seed syllable hung. The hung then transforms into Dorje Sempa. Dorje Sempa is the Tibetan name of Vajrasattva, who is in essence our own kind root Lama. Dorje Sempa is white in color and holds a Dorje and bell. He sits gracefully in the half lotus position. He wears silken robes and all the precious ornaments. So in your card collection that I sent you several months ago, you've got pictures of Vajrasattva. So you can get those out. Yep. And there should be a color picture in there too. So yep, so here's a beautiful color picture of Vajrasattva. And then there is the line drawing, and on the back side is the mantra and the transliteration. And then the other back side is the English translation. So you've got that. So if you're doing this practice, you should have this all available to yourself to help refresh your memories. Yes.
When would I have gotten that one? I had this one.
No, you got this pack of cards.
Oh, yes. Okay.
The pack of cards.
Right.
There you are. Yep. So there's 2 cards in there that are Vajrasattva cards. So it's a beautiful picture here, and the other one's a line drawing and so on. Okay. So now I also want you to refer to this picture that I sent you, because this is the visualization of the Nundro practice, all in one picture here. It's very comprehensive. So if you look at the bottom, you see the picture of a practitioner who is sitting in the yoga position. Do you have it, Michael?
I'm still looking for the cards. Sorry.
Oh, okay. It's about in the middle of the pack, unless you've disturbed the order.
No, I got them. Okay.
Okay, so let's go to this picture here. You got this in the mail, right? Okay. Okay, so at the bottom center is a picture of a practitioner. So this would be us. And going around in a clockwise direction is the 100-syllable mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, etc. So that's the Tibetan going around the image of the practitioner there. And in his heart center is the hung syllable written in Tibetan. So if you look on page 5 of the text, you see it says on this is a syllable hung, and you can see in parentheses that hung syllable. And so it's repeated many different times here on these cards and so on. So it would be a good idea to get familiar with it. And in your 101 prayer book, if you go to the inside back cover, is the Tibetan alphabet. So I know it would be a lot to put the different elements together, but all the elements are there for it. And then if you look on page 23 of that book, you see that there is a blue hung right here in this purification practice. So you begin to recognize, the the ah, and the hung and the shri, all written in the Tibetan text. You'll begin to recognize that. So, going back to page 5 of the page, it says, above the crown of my head, I visualize a white lotus with a moon disk seat. And on this is the syllable hung, which transforms into a Vajra dorje with the hung in the center. So if you look at the yogi here, and above his head, you see on a lotus is a Vajra, is a dorje. A dorje is the Tibetan name for a Vajra. And in the center is a hung syllable. I know it's very small, but the hung syllable is there. If you can see that. So this hung then transforms into a dorje with a hung in its center. And from this hung, light radiates, purifying the obscurations of all beings. So from the hung at the heart of the yogi at the center here, you see the hung at his heart, and you see this ray going off in one direction, and it's going, these represent all sentient beings. And this over here represents all the enlightened beings, all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, and so on. So that ray of light is like passing right through. So that's like that vibration I like to talk about all the time that is permeating all of us, that is going through us. So from this hung, light radiates, purifying the obscurations of all beings. The light is offered to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and the light returns and dissolves into the seed syllable hung. So that you got to imagine that this light is going in all directions and then all condenses back into the hung, and then transforms into Dorje Sempa, Vajrasattva, who is the essence of our own kind root Lama. So this center picture, this is Vajrasattva in this position. And you can notice that one of the unique things about him is that his right foot is extended. In the color picture you have, you see that he's sitting in the classic in the classic position with both legs crossed, but in this black and white line drawing, he's sitting with his right leg extended. But he has the dorje in his right hand, and he's got the Vajra, the bell, the dilbu, at his hip. And this is the classic position of Vajrasattva, and this is how you can recognize him in a line drawing like that, because you can't tell his body color, but and he's okay. So, yes, sir.
Remind me what the right foot extended, does that mean prepared for some sort of motion?
Yeah, we're going to get to that next.
All right.
We're going to get to that next. So now we come to All right, the light is offered to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. The light returns and dissolves into the seed syllable Hung. The Hung then transforms into Dorje Sempa, who is in essence our own kind root Lama. So whoever we consider to be our kind root Lama, whether it's Garchen Rinpoche or it's Kempo Samdop or it's Jupan or whomever you might think, that the essence of that Lama is Dorje Sempa, is Vajrasattva, in this practice. So then the next sentence, it says, Dorje Sempa is white in color and holds a Dorje and bell. He sits gracefully in the half lotus position, and he wears silken robe and precious ornaments. Okay, so now we would do the offering. So we're offering the 8 offerings to Dorje Sempa. So we're saying Om Vajrasattva Sapariwara Argam Pratitsa Soha. You see that on page 6? Okay, Gary? You may not have seen this before. So these are the offerings. So we're doing this. We're gathering the blessings like this. So it's as if our right hand is a bowl, and with our left hand, we're gathering the blessings into our heart center. And then we reverse. Then our next hand becomes the bowl, and our next hand is gathering the blessings into our heart center. So this is the visualization. So we're gathering these blessings into our heart from the bowl of nectar, of Dharma nectar. So we're saying Om Vajrasattva Sapariwara. So Om is the body, speech, and mind of the deity. And then Vajra means the indestructible Sattva, which is Vajrasattva, the indestructible holy being, or the indestructible holy being, Vajrasattva. Sapariwara means, and your retinue, means all your family, all those that are in your mandala, your Buddha field, Sapariwara, your whole retinue. So the body, speech, and mind of Vajrasattva and your entire retinue, I make this offering first of Argam. So you see the word Argam, it's got it's underlined, and we do this mudra, this hand position is Argam. This is a pitcher of water. So we're offering water. You see this? Have you seen this before, Gary? This may be. So this is a pitcher of water. So we're offering drinking water. And then we say pratitsa. So we say, I'm making this offering. Here is the offering. And then so be it. May it be accomplished. So that's the mantra. We say, Om Vajrasattva Sapariwara Argam Pratitsa Soha. So when we do pratitsa, our left hand is inside at our heart level, and the right hand is the wrists come together, and the right hand is outside of the left wrist, like this. So, and then you snap both fingers if you can, and you're making this offering. And then you're taking refuge. May it be accomplished. May it be so. So the first one is Argam, is drinking water. Then if you look down here in the middle of this page, number 6, it then says Padyam. Then it says Pushpam. Then Dupam, Alokam, Gande, Nuate, Shapta, Pratitsa, Soha. So these are the 8 offerings. The first one is the drinking water. The next one is the washing water. So our left hand is out like this with the 3 fingers, and our right 3 fingers are on top of it. And then we're scooping the water up as if to wash our feet, wash our face, wash our hands. This is washing water. So we're making these offerings to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, to Vajrasattva and his entourage, because they are a guest within our heart center. We're visualizing them as a guest in our heart center. So if, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, if someone was coming to your home in northern India, they would have to be walking on foot, and they'd be walking across unpaved fields, roads, and it's likely to be hot and dusty. So when they come, these are the things that you offer a guest when they come to your house. First, you offer them something to drink. Then you offer them something to wash their feet, their face, and their hands. Then next, you offer them pushpe. You're offering them flowers. So this is the flower that is opening, the bud that is opening. So whenever you offer somebody flowers, it always brings a smile to their face and brings a smile to your face. So we're offering flowers to bring a smile, welcome them to your home. And then you offer them dupam, you offer them incense, because we light incense. It's customary in India that they would light incense at the doorway coming into your home, because the incense has the ability to be able to protect against evil. So any evildoers or whatever are repelled by the incense. We love it because it's sweet and wonderful smelling and so on, but the evildoers see it as something that they don't like. So we burn the incense either at the doorway or inside the house as a means of purifying the atmosphere. Of all the evildoers will go away. They will not stay with the scent of the incense, with the smoke of the incense. So we light incense, dupam, and in pratitsa, soha, we make that offering. So each of these we're going, Om Vajrasattva Saparivara Argam Pratitsa Soha. Om Sarva Tadagata Saparivara Padyam Pratitsa Soha. Om Sarva Tadagata Sattva Saparivara Pushpam Pratitsa Soha. Om Vajrasattva Saparivara Dupam Pratitsa Soha. So the dupam, this is like the incense stick, or two hands out like this. Then the next one is alokam. Alokam is light. So in these days, what would have been the thing would have been a butter lamp. So our thumb represents the flame of the butter lamp, and our fingers all tied together, come together, and they're at the knuckle of the thumb to make like the body of the lamp, and here's the flame. So this is alokam. This is the light, represented as the light. So whether it's a candle light or it's a butter lamp light or whatever, that's what this represents. So we say alokam pratitsa soha. Then the next one is gande. Gande is perfume, scented water. So here, our forefinger and our thumb together represents the bottle of perfume, scented water, and our fingers up like this represents the aroma of the perfume. So it's hot and sticky in India. When you put that on your body, it evaporates very quickly, and it has a cooling effect, and plus it leaves a nice scent on your body as it does evaporate. So we're offering alokam, gande, scented water like this. Then the next one is nuitea. Now it's time to eat a meal. You come inside the house, and now it's time to eat. So you're offering a plate of food like this. So this is nuitea. like this. You're offering that in pratitsa soha. And then after you eat or during the course of the meal, now it's time to rejoice. Now it's time to celebrate. And the musical instruments would come out and people would start singing and dancing and so on like that. So this is Shabda. This is the musical instruments. So we take our two fingers like this and our thumbs and our other fingers like that, and we visualize we're playing a drum like that. Shabda. We're playing a drum at the very simplest instrument. If we have bells and horns and things like that, we would play those as well. So this is the rejoicing that we're all together, that we've all had this meal, and now it's time to rejoice of being in each other's company. So these are the 8 offerings. So it comes out of the culture of India, because this is what people would do when they come visiting. They would make these offerings, and then this has been incorporated into the practices of the Buddhism to welcome the guest who is within us, the spiritual guest, who in this case is Vajrasattva and his retinue. Okay, so we started over from the beginning. Om Vajrasattva Saparivara Argam Pratitsa Soha. Om Sarva Tadagata Saparivara Padyam Pratitsa Soha. Om Vajrasattva Saparivara Pushpam Pratitsa Soha. Om Vajrasattva Saparivara Dupam Pratitsa Soha. Om Sarva Tadagata Saparivara Alokam Pratitsa Soha. Om Sarva Tadagata Saparivara Gande Pratitsa Soha. Om Sarva Tadagata Saparivara Nuitaya Pratitsa Soha. Om Sarva Tadagata Saparivara Shabda Pratitsa Soha. Okay, so when you're doing this, you keep your elbows into your side. You don't flail your elbows out, and you're doing this in front of your heart. You're gathering the blessings right in front of your heart. So it should be kind of compact like that. And if you ever get to go to the monastery, and everybody's lined up, and there might be 2 people sitting on a cushion or on a mat in front of a table. So you're all packed in very, very closely to each other. So everything is kept very compact, very tight like that. Okay, any questions about the offerings, the 8 offerings? Okay. So now we recite the praise. It says Vajrasattva, Mahasattva, the great mind. Remember, this is the mind. This is that's what Sempa. Sem means mind, and Pa is the male mind. Sampa. Vajrasattva, Mahasattva. Maha means great being, the great mind, the embodiment of all the Buddhas. Page 7. The Samantabhadra Dharmakaya, I prostrate to the holder of the Vajra. So Samantabhadra, Dharmakaya, Samantabhadra is, in this case, is the primordial Buddha. This is the same as Vajradhara that we've talked about in other practices. So this is the primordial Buddha, the Dharmakaya being. So beyond conception. beyond dualistic thought. I prostrate to the holder of the Vajra. The holder of the Vajra means the indestructible wisdom. So now at Dorje Sempa's heart level is a Dorje on a moon disk. So here, going back to the picture, here is we see Vajrasattva, and then here's Om Ah Hung. So the Om is at his forehead, the Ah is at his throat level, and the Hung is at his heart level. You see the three Om Ah Hung here? Okay. Now they're not, a Dorje's heart level is a Dorje on a moon disk. At the center of the Dorje is a hung syllable surrounded by the 100-syllable mantra. So we visualize that this mantra going around the practitioner now, and Vajrasattva, it's kind of like they're interchangeable now. This is the mind of the practitioner who's becoming Vajrasattva. So they're becoming interchanged with each other. The radiating light from the rotating mantra completely purifies the obscuration of all beings, and they become Dorje Sempas. So again, from this ray of light going out to all beings, coming from the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, coming into the heart center of the practitioner of Vajrasattva, and going out to all beings, and then it comes back around. It comes back around to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So it's all permeating all beings. The light returns and dissolves into the mantra and the seed syllable hung. Nectar produced from these syllables flows through the great right toe of Dorje Sempa. So Dorje Sempa now, the great white toe. So his right foot is extended, and his big toe, his great white toe, is on the aperture of Brahma, sitting on your head. He's sitting on your head, and his big toe is on the aperture of Brahma. Have you heard that before, Brahma? When we talk about the Poa, when we talk about the transference of consciousness, and Amitabha sitting on our head, the center channel opens up at the crown of our head. It's called the aperture of Brahma, the aperture of God. So Dorje Sempa, we're visualizing, is sitting on our head, and his toe is on that aperture. So now it says, nectar produced from these syllables flows through the great right toe of Dorje Sempa. It enters the crown of my head, purifying all defilements, illness, and obscurations through the pores of the skin and two lower openings of my body. These obscurations leave the body in the form of a smoky, dark liquid. Then I am filled with nectar and completely purified as crystal. So we're visualizing these two kind of becoming in union, becoming one, and so the mantra is going around Vajrasattva, Dorje Sempa, who is us, and then he's purified. He's becoming more and more purified. This nectar is becoming activated, and the nectar, this white milky nectar, comes out through the big toe of his right foot and starts coming into our body and fills our body. It pushes out all the negativity, all the evil, all the confusion is pushed out as a dark, smoky liquid that is pushed out the lower pores of our skin and the lower apertures of our body. So specifically, we're talking about the anus, and we're talking about the penis, the urethra. We're talking about our toes, that it goes out through our toes. The furthest reaches of our body is pushed out, and this white milky nectar is filling our body, and we become purified with this. These obscurations leave the body in the form of a smoky, dark liquid. Then I am filled with nectar and completely purified as crystal. And so that's the visualization. Now, up here, and in the more elaborate, this is the middle Nandro practice of Vajrasattva. But in the more elaborate one, then they go and they talk about the 5 Buddha families. They enumerate the 5 Buddha families. So here is each of the 5 Buddha families. There's Varanchana in the center, then there's Ascobia to his right, then there's Ratnasambhava to his right, and then in the center is Varanchana again, and then to his left is Amitabha, and to his right is Amagog City, and then in between them are the consorts, the female consorts, and then in between the families are their root syllables, their seed syllables. So in the center is the Om, is Varanchana. Then in Ascobia, it's a Hum. And then in Ratnasambhava, it is a Tram. And then in Amitabha, it's a Shri. And in Amagog City is a Ah. So all those are filling this vase that is filled with nectar, and this is the nectar that fills the body of Vajrasattva, that then goes down into our body. Here in this lower left-hand corner of the paper, you see that those are the 8 offerings. The same offerings that we do when we're doing the hand gestures, when we're doing the mudras. Those are the offerings there. So also up here, on the upper right-hand side of Vajrasattva is Za Hong Bam Ho. Za Hong Bam Ho. Remember, we hook ourselves to the deity, we bind ourselves to the deity, we chain ourselves to the deity, and we rejoice that we are the deity. So, like I said, in the more elaborate practice, that is in the more elaborate practice. And then we visualize that Vajrapani, that we are evoking Vajrapani, the power of Dharma, the Dharma power. So we're evoking that Dharma power as we go through this transformation to become Dorje Sempa, to become Vajrasattva. So this is the narrative. This is the story of the practice of Vajrasattva. So now we recite the mantra, the 100-syllable mantra. And as we do that, once we memorize it and we're able to do it, very seamlessly, very naturally, very fluidly, and our mind begins to wander, but we bring it back. We bring it back to this visualization. We bring it back to the lineage tree, because we're sitting in front of the tree when we do this. We could be doing prostrations. If you want to do prostrations while you do this, you could do prostrations. But the idea is to have a focal point. The object of our mind is Vajrasattva, is the purification of our body, our speech, and our mind, utilizing the 4 powers. So we start off reciting the mantra. Are there any questions about any of the visualization? Can you see how this helps to control our monkey mind? The monkey mind will try and rise up and take control, but when that happens, we just say, okay, we let it go, And then we replace that with our visualization, with the mantra, the meaning of the mantra, the meaning of the visualizations. So the brain has to keep going. Remember, that's the job of the brain, is to think. So we're giving it something pure to think about.
Well, I have to take some time to put it all together.
Of course. That's why you got
Keep
100,000
pulling-
recitations
keep
to
pulling
do it.
apart. There's a great deal to it to me.
Yes, of course.
I'm really not there yet. Not that I don't want to be, it's I'm not.
That's okay. Well, we all got to start someplace. And we've all started at this place of bewilderment. How am I going to
Well,
do
you got
this?
me pegged.
How are we going to do this? You know, how do I put all this together? But, you know, it's saying, okay, making a commitment. I'm going to do it, and I'll do it at my own speed. I don't have to do it at anybody else's speed. And over time, I will begin to bring this in. I will be able to implement this into my life. So there's no pressure. You know, nobody's going to make any pressure on you, but it's just a question of allowing it to be transformative in your life. Replace the monkey.
So Lance, should we put this in a frame and have this in front of us while we're doing the Vajrasattva practice?
I got mine right up here. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Suitable for framing.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, because I've been using this one for the last year.
Yes.
This is the very first card you ever gave me.
Okay.
So this is the one I've been using every single day. This is my visualization that I.
Well, it's the same one that's here.
Exactly, but yeah, it's just much, I guess, not as elaborate.
Well, right. If I given you this one here last year, what would your head would have been spinning?
Oh yeah, I was like, what is all this? Yeah, what was all this?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes, frame it would be wonderful. You don't have to, but you can laminate it or whatever, you know. But yes, to have it as part of your altar would be a perfect thing to do. So what we're building here, I mean, this is ritualistic stuff, you know, that we're going to do this every day. You know, we're going to do these programs that we have, you know, we're going to adopt this daily routine that we do, and it's creating a ritual for ourselves. We do it at our own speed, like I said. You know, it doesn't have to be an hour or 2 hours. It can be 15 or 20 minutes, you know, whatever. But it grows on its own. You just let it grow. And all these objects, all these different things, pardon me, they become part of your focal point, you know. And like I said, they're replacing all the monkey mind stuff. Does that make sense to you, Gary? Okay. Michael, what do you think?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Okay. I mean, is it offensive in any way or overwhelming in any way?
It's overwhelming and nauseating in many ways. Yeah.
It's nauseating. Why?
Well, you know, nausea is how I react to stress. So.
Oh, it makes you stressful?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, please don't let it do that. Don't do it if it's stressful.
When I'm looking at all this stuff, I feel like my mind is a sieve. I'm trying to remember it and put it together and remember where my hand should be, and it has as much retention power as pouring water through a screen door. I think sometimes it's tough for me.
Yeah.
It's just something very new to me, and for me, and I think for most people, you're trying to find an analog in your life's experience to attach these things to. And you usually can, but usually by the time you do it, the people in the practice are about 10 pages ahead of you.
Well,
I'm the
now,
least experienced of all the.
now we can go to this picture, because this picture tells the story of, here is the yogi, here is the practitioner. You know, you've heard me refer to this a number of different times, who in his left hand, he's holding a red hot fire of metal. And right on his right side, you see, is the fire that is being blown up by this little Daka here, this little male figure here who's making the fire get hot. So the yogi takes the piece of metal, puts it in the fire, gets it red hot, and then puts it on the anvil. And then with his right hand, you see he's got the hammer, and he's banging the metal on the anvil, and sparks are flying off, impurities are flying off. And then he takes the red hot metal and he plunges it into the bowl of water here. You see the bowl of water here? He plunges it in the bowl of water to cool it. And then he starts the process over again. He puts it back in the fire, gets it red hot, puts it on the anvil, bangs it with the hammer, puts it in the fire, and so puts it in the water, and so on. And here is a Dakini who is offering him, you see, the skull cup full of nectar, Dharma nectar. This is in front of him. And what he's doing, he's tempering his being. He's tempering his mind, his body, his speech, and his mind. He's tempering it. The same as a blacksmith would be tempering that piece of metal. So this picture can become a constant reminder of the work that we're doing. And it's not easy work. You know, it's difficult work. But we do it joyously. You know, we do it with happiness. We do it with conviction. And we move at our own pace. You know, so at the very beginning, I know we talked about meditation is not a passive thing. Meditation is a very active process that takes time, takes effort, and takes a system. And this is all part of the system. So we just stepped up the system a little bit more. So now visualizing, going back to this, visualizing this, or visualizing Vajrasattva, or visualizing this card, whichever you wish to do, or using this piece of paper, now we're reciting the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tanopa Dristadredo Mevawa Suto Kayo Mebawa Supo Kayo Mebawa Anuraktu Mebawa Sara Siddhi Me Prayatsa Sara Karma Sutsa Me Sitsan Triya Kuruhung Ha 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 ho Bhagavan Saratada Gata Bajra Mame Munsa Bajri Bhava Mahasamaya Satwaha Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Justadredo Me Bhava Suto Kayo Me Bhava Supo Kayo Me Bhava Anuraktu Me Bhava Sarasiddhi Me Prayatsa Sara karma sutsame, sitsan triya kuru hong. Ha 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 ho, Bhagavan. Sara tada gata, bajra mame munsa, bajri bhava mahasamaya satwaha. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Tenopa Jista Jedo Me Bhava Suto Kayo Me Bhava Supo Kayo Me Bhava Anuraktu Me Bhava Sarasiddhi Me Prayatsa Sara Karma Sutsa Me Sitsan Triya Kuru Hong. Ha 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 ho, Bhagavan. Saratada gata bajra mame munsa bajri bhava mahasamaya satwa. So you can accumulate your recitations using your beads. If you prefer, you can use your hand as we counted 7. So you can do 7. You can do 14. You can do 21. In the beginning, make it an obtainable, enjoyable goal for yourself. So do it simply. Don't make it too complicated, and do that. And then eventually you'll get to do, a whole mile around, which will take, it'll take 30 minutes, 35 or 40 minutes to do a whole mile around at the speed we were just doing it. So it takes a while, but it's through applying ourselves that the benefit comes. Yes.
What a whole mile around of what section?
Of what we just did, page 9, the 100-syllable mantra.
Okay.
The 100-syllable mantra. So that's the accumulation mantra for this practice.
Easy peasy.
Okay, so we should have our pictures in front of us and everything. So when our mind wanders, we've got something to bring it back to. Okay. Any other thoughts or questions? Okay, so then we go to the next part, which is page 10. It says, I and all sentient beings, deluded by our ignorance, have broken the vows. O Lama Dorje Sempa, the protector, holder of the Vajra, Lord of all sentient beings, please protect us. Dorje Sempa is pleased with our prayers and replies, your delusions are now cleared away, and you are purified. Dorje Sempa then dissolves into light and is absorbed into myself through the top of my head. I then become Dorje Sempa. Meditate on the union of appearance and emptiness. Now, if you do this, you're doing the mantra, and let's say, for instance, you do 21 times. And after 21 times, your mind will be cleared away of a lot of junk. You're going into this, what's that, and all this kind of stuff. But after you do this, really heartfelt, you do this out loud, as I've done it, Om Mani Padme Hum, so on, so on, so on. And after 21 times, you're going to have a spacey mind. And then you read this, and it says, Dorje Sempa is pleased with our prayers and replies, your delusions are now cleared away, because now you're not thinking about those delusions. You've got a buzz, and you're just feeling the buzz.
Well,
Yes, sir.
What are we doing? What would I be doing 21 times?
The 100-syllable mantra.
Oh, okay.
So your delusions are now cleared away and you are purified. So for as long as you can make that buzz last, you've got that purification. But slowly, 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 you return to your everyday mind and stuff starts happening. So, but then you might do the practice again. Maybe the next day you do it again. Maybe instead of doing it 21 times, maybe you do it half a mile around. Maybe you do it 50 times, 54 times, and you build up gradually, 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 and you begin to see the benefit. And then you start having that clear mind experience where the monkey mind has been tamed. And then you see, oh, now I understand why I'm doing all this. Now I understand the benefit that it brings to my life. Now I see that all this has a purpose and is a practical, useful purpose. And now I start to become a practitioner. So the last line here on page 10 says, I then become Dorje Sempa, that you become Vajrasattva, and that you meditate on the union of appearance and emptiness. And we've talked about this a lot. Appearance is the relative, is the phenomenal nature. And the emptiness is the nature of that it's empty of its own accord, that is relative nature. It is one of the two truths. And that emptiness is what allows us to be able to transcend. There's nothing to hold on to. So there's nothing to hold us back from transcending into the ultimate truth. And it happens just very effortlessly, very gracefully, very peacefully. And then we experience the true meditation. So you sit, maybe you can sit for 3 minutes or 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you can, whatever you make time for, and you practice that, and you'll find that, that there will be progress if you continue to do that on a regular basis. So now we come out of our meditation, and now we go to page 11, which is the dedication part. We say, through the virtue of this practice, may I achieve Dorje Sempa's great realization. To this state, may I come to lead every being, not one left behind. Kewa diyi nor dudai, Dorje Sempa drub gurnei, Drowa jinkong kyang malupa, Siddheyi salago pasho. So then we came in doing this with the with all the prayers. So we can leave doing this with the prayers, or if we're just doing a short with this is a complete practice right here. So it has the opening prayers, set our motivation. It has the visualization. It has the mantra. It has the generation stage. It has the completion stage and the dedication. And then we do our dedication prayer. So you can do everything with this one page of text.
Hey, Lance, you're saying we can do prostrations while we're reciting the syllable, the 100 syllable mantras,
If you want, you don't have to. I didn't,
but you can instead of reciting the refuge prayer.
but that doesn't count as refuge prostrations.
No, but this is just for to
Yeah.
keep focus on doing
Yeah,
doing the
I
100.
think the real purpose here is to do this seated, not doing prostration,
Okay.
so that you're really developing a meditation mind. Because if you're doing the prostrations, you're not necessarily developing a meditation mind. You're not cultivating a meditation mind.
Yeah, because I
It's
mean,
a different practice.
I've sat and tried to do like a mile around of the 100 syllable mantra, and depending on what speed you go to, you can go from anywhere from 35 minutes to almost an hour.
That's right.
Easily.
That's right.
And if you do it really fast, I mean, maybe get done within 30 minutes, but that's but it just doesn't cultivate the emotions.
Well, I argue with that.
Really?
I would say that you do 3 mile rounds
Oh,
at that speed, and you will come away, and you might not be able to read for an hour.
yeah. Oh, I hear you. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
No, this is rocket fuel. This is good stuff.
Mhm.
This is good stuff. This is getting into a higher level of stuff. It's a deeper commitment than Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum is very profound. Don't get me wrong, but Om Mani Padme Hum is for the benefit of others. This one here is to purify yourself. And there are times when I've been very troubled, with some emotional thing, and I've come into my room and I've recited, 3 mile rounds of this for an hour and a half, and I forget what it was that was bothering me. It is gone. I have transcended it. And I've done what I used to do with this. I used to do like 3 hours of this when I was doing Nundro.
Oh, you can easily do 3 hours of this.
I mean, just the mantra.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine.
Just the mantra. Taking a sip of water here and there, and really be letting myself get blown away.
Yeah, because a lot of times during the summer when I'm mowing the lawn, this is the mantra I recite while I'm mowing the lawn. Because what I'm doing when I'm mowing the lawn, what am I doing? I'm killing a ton of insects and whatever, and all kinds of other life. So I try not to think about that, but I try to recite this the whole time. But
Somehow that has never worried me.
what's that? Oh, when you're mowing the lawn?
Yeah, especially some of the insects that are on there, the ones that bite me.
Well, liberate them. Say Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum.
Liberate them.
All right.
Get to someone else's lawn.
Oma I ri lili ung kaka gagana zaza na da na baba ma yawalawa saha kriya soha. Om yadame hetu pabawa hetu takan dadagato heo takan sa yunarada ewamani mashamani soha. I think I'm on page 30 or 31 in the red book. I'm just doing each one of these one time. 33, page, now I'm on 32. Teata Om Yadama Hetu Pavawa Hetu Takan Tadagato Hewa Tata Takasa Yunarada Evamadi Mashimani Soha Om Yadama Hetu Pavawa Hetu Takan Tadagato Hewa Tata Takasa Yunarada Evamadi Mashimani Soha Om Bazusa was a maya manu balaya bazusa with an obaju the data mabo azu the guy mabo azu the guy mabo on right to mabo az or city mabo az or comes as a maze is under a guru. Ha ha ho bhagavan so dada gata bazu bami manzi bazu baba ma zamaya zawaha bazusa was a maya manu balaya bazusa with an obaju the data mabo azu the guy mabo azu the guy mabo Anorecta mabo was or city mabo az or comes as a maze is under a guru. Ha ha ho bhagavan so dada gata bazu bami manzi bazu baba ma zamaya zawaha bazusa was a maya Manabalaya Bazuza Wadana Baju, the data Mabo Wazu, the Gaia Mabo Wazu, the Gaia Mabo Wan, the rector Mabo Was, or Zidi Mabra, Zoric Armazazumez, Andrea Guru, Ha Ho, Bagawan, Zor, Dadagata Bazabami, Manzi Bazu Baba Mazamaya, Satwa Ha. Teata, Peso Juba, our Buddhanese, or they don't better do 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 Buddhanese, oh ha. This is it. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 5 families and the 3 times have destroyed defilement and lead to equipoise of the enlightened mind. Om Ruru Daru Mugi Mugi Zoam 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 Ruru Daru Mugi Mugi Om Dai Dai Ben Dai Zai 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 Ha Om Manabashibara Redais 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 Oh Ha. The enlightened body, speech, and mind of the peaceful and wrathful deities is the Buddha. The body, speech, and mind of the Buddha is the cause for enlightenment of all sentient beings. The bliss and strength in the heart center of the Buddha is the cause for enlightenment. The bliss and strength in the heart center of the Buddha is equipoise. Om Ah Hong 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 Om Ah Dorje Chang, Talopa, Naropa, Marpa, Milarepa, Dormalorgan Popa, Pagmadrupa, Lordri Kumpa, please bestow upon us the most auspicious blessing of all the Kaju Lamas. By this virtue may I achieve the all-knowing state. May all who travel on the waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death cross the ocean of samsara by defeating all enemies, confusion, the cause of suffering. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. I pray that the Lama may have good health. I pray that the Lama may have long life. I pray that your Dharma activities spread far and wide. I pray that I may not be separated from you. As Manjushri, the warrior, realized the ultimate state, and as did Samantabhadra, I will follow in their path and fully dedicate all merit for all sentient beings. By the blessing of the Buddha who attained the 3 kayas, by the blessing of the truth of the unchanging Dharma as such, by the blessing of the indivisible Sangha order, may the merit I share bear fruit. By the virtues collected by myself and all beings in samsara nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all sentient beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Trikumpa Ratna Shri, who is omniscient Lord of the Dharma, master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, meditation until the end of samsara. Om Ahom. Om Ahom. Om Ahom. May my body, speech, and mind become inseparable with the body, speech, and mind of all the enlightened ones. Om Ahom, Om Ahom, Om Ahom. Thank you, gentlemen.